4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Good afternoon, everybody. CBS Sports Radio, in for Zach Gelb. Today, I am Bart Winkler, and it is great to be back here again for Zach Attack. He only lets me call him that. I call him, or the Big Z. Sometimes I'll call him that. Those are just little pet names that I specifically have for Zach. He calls me B-Dubs, or that idiot from Milwaukee that's filling in for me on Wednesday. You know, just little pet names. Nothing too substantial. Nothing too crazy. Again, I'm Bart Winkler, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. Stu Kovacs, Mike Samter are along with us as usual. And, of course, you guys. We will talk to Sean Deveney a little later. We're going to talk some NBA, as that starts on Tuesday. I mean, the NBA is here. I think there's been a little uptick in preseason, viewership. You know, these games seem to be on a little bit more. Maybe this is purely anecdotal. I haven't seen one number to tell me either way, but it does seem like, you know, people are getting a little anxious and getting a little more excited for the NBA earlier in the season. There's a lot of buzz around the NBA, as there should be. Big trades still happening, trades that could still happen. James Harden doesn't show up today at practice, so who knows where he'll end up, if anywhere. But, yeah, the NBA starts next week, and really looking to get into that. They have the NBA Cup, which starts in a few weeks. This is funny. So I get an email from the Milwaukee Bucks about, theme nights. Like, hey, this is Veterans Night, or, hey, this is Kids Day, or, whatever. All these teams have their theme nights. But in the theme night listing, they listed NBA Cup game. They're still not sure how to process what entirely this is or what it's going to look like. And that's one of the things that Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, is really focused on trying to bring to the NBA regular season, is some new kind of excitement, a new tournament of sorts, a new just reason to get up for some of these games that maybe some of us, in a November midweek game, we pass by. There'll be select Tuesday and Friday night games. The Eastern teams are regrouped, but then they'll play the teams in the East, same with the West. So it will make these teams travel a bunch more in the second half of the season. I don't know if that's going to come into play at all with the new rest rules or anything, but it is going to be different, and we'll see. It's basically, we're going to decide, and the players are going to decide how much we want to care about the NBA Cup. If they care about it, then it's fun. If we care about it, it'll be great. Even if we care about it in a joking way, like we kind of think it's dumb, but deep down we kind of like it, then it'll be fun. But if it's just the same old game, then it will be dumb. But this is a commissioner who is trying to do new things for his league, because all of these commissioners, I think, maybe not all, and we'll get to that, but all of these commissioners, their goal, I feel like a commissioner has two goals. There's two goals for a commissioner. It is to, at first when I was a kid, I thought it was make the sport as cool as possible. Just do what's best for the sport. I found out that was a little misguided, because commissioners, I think when I first thought and saw these commissioners, that would run these leagues, I basically thought commissioner meant best fan gets to be in charge of the league. This is a fan who's looking out for the fans, and he just wants to make the league as good as possible. That's what I thought it was. Then I saw strikes happen in pretty much every sport, and I realized what a commissioner is there for. A commissioner is there to guide the sport along into the future while trying to make as much money as possible. This guy's job exists for money. Also, to deflect when things need to be talked about, when owners get in hot water, when the league itself is going through some situations that they don't want to answer for. He is basically the figurehead and he or she, depending on the league, the figurehead to answer for some of those things that happen. And I realize that that's the case when I find out the salaries of these guys, specifically one Roger Goodell, who has a new deal. He got a 3-year extension today. The NFL has officially extended Roger Goodell for 3 more years through March of 2027. He is 64. Previous commissioners before him, Paul Tagliabue was 65. And then Pete Rozelle stepped down when he was 63. Goodell is 64. He would be 67 when this comes to an end, and it might be his last ride, and along the way he'll groom whoever the next commissioner will be. And then whoever it is, like, this is a massive job. You basically hold this job for 20 years. It's more than a president. It's not as much as like a Supreme Court. Some would say this guy, if you're the NFL commissioner, maybe you are the most powerful person in America. I don't know. Top 5? Certainly top 10. 63-some million dollars Roger Goodell brings in per season, which is, I think, astronomical. I mean, for that much money, obviously they have to make a lot of money to then give him that much money. But the league has decided, yeah, he is worth that, or a commissioner in general is worth that to be the one to guide them through the future and then to also be the shield. Really, I think more than anything, where he gets paid is to be the guy that answers questions. And when things come up, you know, if there is an instance where we went through the DeMar Hamlin thing, or if there's any safety concerns, or if there's, you know, lawsuits with CTE, or if there's hiring practices that some feel are unfair or get questioned. Like, that is why the commissioner exists to me. It's more to be the person that takes the heat. He's basically the press secretary of the NFL. Yeah, he's more than that. He's responsible for more than that. But I think, like, that's why he makes $65 million, is because he's the one that gets booed. He's the one that, you know, people are insulting. He's the one that, you know, people are making clown T-shirts of, while all the other owners just kind of get a free pass. Sure, they're open to their own criticism for things that they do and they say and they tweet, Jim Irsay. But for the most part, the commissioner is kind of the guy who takes all the heat. Now, if you look at where football has come, specifically the NFL from 2006 until now, obviously the NFL is like, yes, you are. Well, his tenure is a success, right? Roger Goodell's tenure has been a success. I do wonder how much of the growth of the league you can attribute to Roger Goodell, and how much of the growth of the league since 2006 you can attribute to other factors. Like right now, there is one thing that we all talk about at the same time and we all watch at the same time, and that's the National Football League, right? There's a lot of things going on. Like I try to figure out like what's in the pop culture zeitgeist, you know, what's going on. And I think of the little corners of the world that I like I'm a big Marvel guy. I'm waiting for a new Loki on Thursday. Can I go to the water cooler, so to speak, the next day at the office and say, hey, did you see Loki? And people say, oh, no, I'm waiting till the season ends and then I'll watch them all. Or, oh, no, I didn't catch it yet. I'll stream it this weekend. Okay. People will say, hey, you watching The Golden Bachelor? Pretty crazy. You might catch a couple people at work that watch it. But again, oh, yeah, I gotta catch up on that. We're busy last night. Or there's things don't happen at a specific time anymore. Things don't happen where we all have to be there or we're going to miss it. Sports is kind of that last beacon. And the NFL being as important as anything else. So I do wonder a little bit, like, does Goodell, because the NFL is the one thing that we all watch at the same time in record numbers. We all, like, if the NBA finals are on, you like the NBA, you watch it. You're watching the World Series, you know, but the NFL consistently is bringing in 25 to 30 million people a week for games that really aren't even that good. I saw a top 5 games that were broadcast this year so far. The opening night game, I think, was the first. And then there were a bunch of games where either the Jets got destroyed or the Cowboys got destroyed. They're not necessarily good games, but because of the different things that go along, like the Dallas Cowboys being America's team, which I will talk about a little bit later. I agree a lot with what Micah Parsons had to say today. So Cowboys Nation, I got you. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I am not. But I like watching them play, and I root for them. And I defend them on the radio. But I am not a fan. Do not think for a second that I am. So that is something that we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, this is the sport that gets all the attention. It's football. It's the last beacon of a kind of water cooler, which those don't, I mean, do they? But that's kind of the last beacon of communal activity and communal pop culture. And obviously, I can't bring this up without saying what has happened with the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift relationship, how that's brought a new set of eyeballs in. And maybe that's one of Goodell's blunders or missteps. They've been so focused. They thought they conquered the American audience. They thought every single person that wants to watch us in this country is already watching us. Look at the record of Super Bowl, 100 million people. We've already got the numbers. Let's go to Europe. Okay, let's send teams over there. Let's really invest. Let's give these other countries, like, assign them what their home team is, which is kind of weird. Let's do that. No. All you had to do was have Taylor Swift go and watch some of the worst teams. What has she been to so far? A Jets game, a Bears game, and there was another bad team she saw. Was it the Broncos? Like, really bad teams. These are bad teams. The Vikings, yeah. But no, she didn't go to the Vikings game. That was the one game she skipped. Not even Taylor Swift could go to Minnesota. But she went and saw some bad teams, okay? And she is bringing in a whole new set of fans. So maybe Goodell was wrong to go across the pond. But that is kind of their goal. He wants to make football more of a global sport. I think you're going to see that more. I think that there is a little bit of they gotta be cautious with how deep they go into the streaming part of it. I think there's a game that's going to be on Peacock this year exclusively, not just in the regular season, but the playoffs, which I understand they're trying to go on every, there's Amazon, there's ESPN Plus, there's cable, there's the broadcast networks, there's a playoff game on streaming. I think they got to kind of tiptoe into the water on that. Because you got to make it accessible. You can't make it, 15 different channels that I have to memorize. That will start to alienate some people. But for the most part, football, obviously, since 2006, and in 2006, the NFL was huge. The NFL, you kind of felt like a changing of the guard in the 90s where the NFL kind of took over from Major League Baseball and NBA with Michael Jordan. But it's clear, like, right now, you can't have any debate. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, you could debate what's the biggest sport in the country, what's America's pastime. Not for one single year of Goodell's tenure have you been able to debate that. And the NBA's had lockouts, the MLB's had situations, and the NFL, for the most part, has chugged along and only gotten bigger and only gotten better. I just wonder how much of that is attributed to Roger Goodell and how much is other factors at play. Gambling has gotten big. Daily fantasy sports has certainly helped the NFL. And eventually they came around to that. So good for the NFL for recognizing it and not shying away from that. But look at where we're at now. We've got 6 games internationally. We've got a team in Las Vegas, for better or for worse. We've got Thursday night football on a platform that didn't exist 10 years ago. We've got Sunday night football bigger than ever. Monday night football's back. 30 million people every Sunday, fantasy and DraftKings, and the consistent, discussion about the league is a constant churn, and the draft's gotten bigger than ever. Free agency and the combine matters for some reason. So, yeah, it's in a much better place. Obviously, he gets credit. I wonder how much of that is just how society changed and how much, basically, I think I don't think he's worth $65 million is what I'm saying. But the NFL does, and he gets the money. So we are either stuck with him or we get to enjoy him for another 3 years. Roger Goodell signing a contract extension today. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. More on this great league of ours and what to expect this coming weekend. We'll do a little of that coming up next. Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Mike in Milwaukee. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Zach, thanks for taking my call. Hey, I just got to say, I do enjoy your show because I'm not going to lie, it's partly because I think you give Wisconsin sports their due, which that doesn't happen a whole lot, and I appreciate that.
Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Yeah, rise up, Wisconsin. Oh, yeah. I'm Bart Winkler in the Badger State. What a great state it is. If you guys haven't gotten here, you got to come. A lot of great events coming to Milwaukee soon. I think there's one of the parties are having their political convention next year. We got the NFL draft coming to Green Bay in 2 years. The NBA won't give Milwaukee an all-star game for some reason. I don't know why. We built a new stadium for you, Silver, Mr. Silverman. Built you a new stadium. Built a whole little entertainment district around it. Was it too cold in February? Okay, I'm sorry. Everything happens indoors. You know, you're going to be fine. And also Milwaukee has Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team, which I think that is a big deal. But because it happened in Milwaukee, somehow Boston got better by taking the guy the Bucks traded away. We'll talk to Sean Deveney about that in a couple of minutes because I have thoughts and I have takes. NBA-wise, the Bucks and the Nuggets. That's who it is. Celtics are third. And then, I don't know, the Suns. Warriors think they have another run in them. Warriors have about a 500 record. Since they lost KD. I know that they had the year that they were down and rebuilding, but I don't know. The Kings, you don't want to lay some claim. Basically, the East is two teams. I don't know what Miami did last year. Thanks for playing. Philly is a disaster. They need to trade Harden, and I think they need to trade Embiid, honestly, and start that thing from scratch. Who else is in the East? Who else is there? I mean, the Bulls? The Knicks? No. The West, pretty wide open, except for the Nuggets. Lakers should be good, but can't wait for it. Should be a fun ride that starts next week. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4CBS. One thing that I was looking at, we're talking about the NFL a little bit and just how massive it's gotten over the last, well, really 20 years, 17, 18 years, the tenure of Roger Goodell since he took over in 2006. And it is bigger. I think it's bigger than it's ever been. Just in terms of the attention given to it, the amount that it dominates, like the coverage. Like the NFL is like a business that keeps a lot of people employed, whether it's yackers like me or, you go to these towns and there's like Green Bay, for example. There are businesses, there are hotels that exist only for the 8 home games a year where they can charge $400 a night. Every other night you can get the room for $39, And these are like the kind of motels that you see where it still flashes free HBO. Like that's the draw. No Wi-Fi yet. No continental breakfast. The pool's only open in the summertime. They got free HBO. These are these kind of hotels. They're going for $400, $500 a pop when the Packers are home, and that's keeping everybody in business. So the NFL, massive, just in the last 17 years under Goodell. Is that more of a cultural thing? Is that more of a Goodell thing? Is that kind of a both thing? And I think what the NFL is trying to do, I worry that eventually they're going to get too big, or I wonder what's the thing that's going to make it crumble. Like, I think a full division in Europe is bad news. And there was that story he was quoted like, yeah, we'd love to have a Super Bowl in London someday. I hope that didn't get too much coverage or traction or get, too many legs. When Roger Goodell goes to London and they ask him about having a Super Bowl there, a lot of PTSD for me, for my college years, chasing after ladies that friend zoned you very quickly. And you have a few one night and you're at the bar and you say, could we ever be together? And she says, yeah, someday, you're great husband material. And then you're like, oh my God, maybe someday. And then for the next 5 years, she dates all your friends. That's what good. You're in the friend zone, London, is what's it. You are in the friend zone. We'll keep coming to you on our terms. We really as much as we like going there and having a new audience and, helping you build these new stadiums and giving us another trip. We like the early morning window that we can have also on our TV partners. That's really what we like. We like that we can provide another game at a time when we think that we're all gamed out. The NFL, if they could, I think they would have Tuesday night football and Wednesday night football and Friday night football. But at some point they know it's overkill. Oh, let's sneak a game here on Sunday morning. People are up anyway watching the pregame, just setting lineups and waiting for the games. Let's give them another TV window. So that your friend zone, London. The day London gets a Super Bowl is not a day that exists. They will get a Super Bowl on February 30th is when they will get a Super Bowl. It is not happening. Sunday Night Football. I was looking at this today. I was looking at Sunday Night Football, the schedule. Because at the beginning of the year, what they try to do is schedule the most premier games, obviously. They want the best of the best. And they do offer the flex scheduling, which they're going to need to use, I think. But they try to look ahead and say, all right, if we didn't have to flex any games, what would be the premier schedule that we could get every week? And I look ahead here, and Sunday Night Football has been funny so far because there's been games that you expect to be good that are not, and then vice versa. First week of the season, Cowboys-Giants was supposed to be a great game. It was 40-0. Dolphins played the Patriots. That was all right. Steelers and Raiders, that was no good of a game, but it was actually a pretty compelling game. Some coaching blunders helped that, but that was good. Chiefs and Jets, Rodgers is hurt. That's not going to be a good game. 23-20, a really good game. Plus, you had the whole Taylor Swift sideshow, which, by the way, I think would have been the networks to have her. Amazon had her at a game, and I think they did well. Fox had the first one. That was fine. NBC was a little overkill. Little too much. Niners and Cowboys. That was supposed to be a great game. Stunk. Bills and Giants was supposed to be a laugher. Pretty competitive. I still don't know how the Bills won that game. That everybody knows that was holding on Darren Waller. And they can say what they want. It was holding on Darren. I mean, he got held. He got held. It's just they didn't want to call it back-to-back plays. It's very clear. Human nature does take over in some of these situations. Do we need robot umps in the NFL? 855-212-4227. This Sunday, oh my gosh. I mean, Dolphins, Eagles, are you joking me? You got to be joking me. Then look what we got coming up. Expect some flexing in the near future. The 1-5 Bears are set to take on the 2-3 Chargers. Yikes. Week 10, the Jets are going to the Raiders. That might stay. Both teams are around 500. I don't know. We'll see. But both of those teams are 3-3, and you're like, what? The 2-4 Vikings go to the 1-5 Broncos. Yeah, so 3 of the next 4 weeks, you have like 6 of the 8 worst teams coming up on Sunday Night Football. And I haven't seen any flex news yet on Bears Chargers. I don't know if they're going to stick with that or go with that, but that is certainly interesting. The Sunday night schedule that is coming up here. But I'm invested into it, man. I love the NFL. I think I talked about this last time. I just can't get enough of this. I don't really credit Roger Goodell for that, but again, if they want to continue to give him $65 million, they can. I think, this might just be me, but I have more friends than I thought that don't watch the NFL in the same way that I do. Like, I have one friend who's a Bears fan, and he has, like, radio shows that he does. And if the Bears start at noon Central, his show ends at noon Central. And he'll just drive home with not a care in the world and listen to the radio, but, like, music. And then when he gets home at 12:30, then he'll start the game from scratch on the DVR. I have another friend who I try to text him stuff on Monday morning about games that have happened, but I'm not even sure he's watched the Sunday. He tapes the games, he tapes Red Zone, and then watches it at his convenience and ignores the phone, ignores the internet. I don't know how he's able to pull it off, but I think that's sicko behavior. I mean, or maybe I'm the sicko behavior. If there is an NFL game going on, I need to see it. I don't care if it's my team or if I have money on it or am invested in it or in any way. I don't care. I must see it at every single possible time. We were doing pictures with my kid the other day. Okay? Pictures with my kid. And, Sunday morning, real nice setting. You got to be attentive. And the whole time, like, you had to crop me out of the frame because I had my phone watching Buffalo Jacksonville. It's like, I'm not a big, I like both teams, but I could always, like, I can't miss a game. I have to see every single second of this league as it happens. Thursday night, the Black Friday game, these random games on Saturday coming up. Christmas Day, there's going to be 3 games. Well, I guess I'm not celebrating Christmas. I'm already that way on Thanksgiving. I have to see them all. It is the greatest, just the greatest sport in the world. And we should have a really good week this week. I would think Jacksonville and the Saints tomorrow night. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence plays. I know there's some question about that, but you've got Detroit and Baltimore. Detroit we're going to talk about today. I think they are in such a good spot. Detroit can kind of coast behind the Niners and the Eagles. They're going to get all the attention in the NFC, and people will start thinking about Detroit a little more, but they're going to be locked into, all right, they're the third best team. When really, by the end of the year, it's possible they are the best team. A lot of teams that are 500 or 3-2 playing each other. And then the big one on Sunday night, Miami and Philadelphia, both 5-1. That is going to be a really, really fun game to check out. So fun week ahead in the National Football League for sure. And, of course, we'll have you covered all Sunday with Eye on Football with Zach Gelb, as he does every single Sunday. 855-212-4227. We'll talk some NBA coming up with Sean Deveney. I do want to talk about how I do think it's pretty top-heavy, but that doesn't mean we're not going to be in for a really fun and really exciting season, which starts next week. That'll be in just a few moments. This moment, here is an update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. The Rangers are 2 wins away from dethroning the reigning champs and getting to the World Series. Even better, they'll host the next 3 games if necessary. And tonight, they get back 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer. Everything is coming up aces for the Rangers, and the 3-time Cy Young Award winner thrilled to be back and a part of it.
We're playing good baseball. We got a good thing going. We're flowing. We're rolling. So just continue to keep it going. Now it's my turn to get back into the fray and go out there and compete and give it the best I got.
Christian Javier will start for the Astros. He's yet to allow a run in 3 career postseason starts. Roger Goodell got another contract extension that will keep him in his current role as NFL commissioner through March of 2027. Kyler Murray returned to practice. The Cardinals have 3 weeks to activate him from the PUP list. And the Dolphins welcome back corner Jalen Ramsey today following knee surgery. The Jets reportedly sending Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs for a swap of late-round picks in 2025. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, Perloff, at home, in your car, and, of course, on your phone and tablet.
Maggie, you can find us on your local affiliate, Sirius XM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
CBS Sports Radio. My name is Bart Winkler. 855-212-4227. It is time, as always, to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. All you got to do is send us your question at CBS Sports Radio, or you can hit me up. I'm at Winks Thinks, okay? At Winks Thinks. And then you can say, Winks doesn't think when I say something dumb. That'd be original and new. Use the hashtag #AskThePros, and then later on in the show, we'll possibly get to your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Want to bring in Sean Deveney to the program. You can catch his work at heavy.com, insider there for the NBA. And Sean, it's great to have you on. Sean, I should preface this by telling you that I am a Bucks fan, and which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's where I'm all up in arms, is because my Milwaukee Bucks trade for Damian Lillard to pair him with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think when I first got triggered by everything was when they make this trade and people were like, well, they're not perfect. And then Drew Holiday goes to the Celtics, which big deal, good addition. But then somehow the odds went back in favor for Boston after acquiring the guy that had been traded out here. So I'm just like, I'm going to ask you, but don't tell me that Boston's better than Milwaukee, okay?
Should we find a different set? You want to talk about James Harden then?
We'll get to that later, but come on.
I mean, look, I think I understand why Milwaukee did what they did with Lillard. That they felt like they'd sort of reached the plateau with the team that they had. And that Lillard is a guy who can help push them above it. But I also think, and obviously I'm not alone in this, that he is a defensive liability, that as you get deeper in the playoffs, that's something that teams are going to be able to pick on. And that's probably going to be an Achilles heel for that team. To not only have Lillard come in and give you that jolt, but then to have Drew Holiday come in and give Boston a jolt, and really Boston, I thought had kind of tied itself in knots with what they did this summer, losing Marcus Smart and bringing in Kristaps Porzingis. I wasn't a huge fan of Boston summer until they bring in Drew Holiday, and now things make a little more sense for them. So I'm sorry, Bart, but I gotta go with the consensus on this, and that is that the Celtics really made out pretty well in all this.
I think the Celtics made I think they did too. I just think that I think what it comes down to, Sean, is if that the Bucks stayed still and the Celtics were the ones that ended up with Damian Lillard, well then, I mean, because for some reason there's I feel like there's a Celtics bias for some reason. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how I feel. And I do think Drew kind of did get cooked by Jimmy Butler a little bit. I don't know, but it's certainly I'll you can address whatever I just said there, but then I'll pivot a little bit too is that's it though in the East. It's Miami's done, Philly is a mess, the Knicks, okay, close enough. The Cavs will win games, but how far? I don't think the conversation goes any further than Milwaukee and Boston.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, you're right. I mean, look, a lot of what Drew does is still on reputation, and he's getting up there in age, and I don't think he does it quite as well as he did. But with Boston, I think the other thing with the Celtics, I'd say, is when you trade away Marcus Smart, you're trading away a culture guy. And I don't think that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, at least to this point, have shown that they can be, culture guys. They can be the guys who really lead in that locker room. Drew Holiday can. So I thought that was a big replacement for them on that level. as well. So yeah, but you're right. The Eastern Conference, talent wise, it's Milwaukee and Boston, and then it's a pretty steep drop after that. I think the Knicks have a chance to make some noise. Certainly, they're a team that is poised to do something on the trade market that could certainly change their fortunes. They've been very patient with that. They haven't just gone after every shiny object that comes by them the way that they used to. And that's good, but at some time, they've got to take all the parts they have and maybe put together a package and make themselves a contender. Now, I think that's the one team that could really sneak in and be dangerous here.
Yeah, so I think after, and we're talking with Sean Deveney, Heavy.com, you can check out his work. I think that, clearly, so there's two teams, it's a two-horse race, but that doesn't mean that the other 13 should just be maybe next year. I mean, things could happen. It could not work. There could be injuries. You never know. And so, yeah, maybe the Knicks are that team, maybe the Cavs. I think, though, if I was in charge of the Sixers, and here's the James Harden stuff, but also, if I was the Sixers, I would look at what's happened this last decade. I've gotten nothing from a success standpoint. Hey, we've had nice seasons. Joel just won the MVP. Okay, cute. We've never been to a conference championship. I would look to move him also at some point. I would really blow it up if I'm them. And basically, if they have to trade James Harden, I don't know what they're going to get in return for that. But this Sixers team, I don't see a path forward for them, especially with the two in front of them.
Yeah, and James Harden certainly took a lot of criticism for what happened in the playoffs last year against Boston. But Joel Embiid was 5 for 18 in that final game and had 15 points and 4 turnovers. He was every bit as responsible for the Sixers not going forward, as has been the case in the past. He kind of dodges that responsibility a little bit. Not saying that he doesn't take responsibility himself. He's always done that, but he doesn't get the same amount of criticism as the guys around him, whether it's Ben Simmons or now James Harden. At some point you got to say, is this our guy? I think back to way back. If you go back to when the whole process started, the whole thing with Sam Hinkie and all that. One thing that a lot of NBA people were saying at the time was the thing that you worry about is they're bringing in these young guys into this losing culture and they're getting their teeth kicked in from the beginning, and they're saying that it's okay to get your teeth kicked in. That's going to create sort of a losing mentality in that organization. And even as they've gotten better, it does seem there you can say that there's some credence to that. When you look at what's happened to Ben Simmons, you look at what's happened to Joel Embiid, sort of the two main products of the process. You can say that those are two guys who don't seem to know how to win, and maybe that goes back to the fact that they were taught to lose, their first 3-4 years in the NBA.
Talking with Sean Deveney here, Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio. How about this? So those are my Eastern Conference questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna go to the Western Conference. And I'm gonna ask you about, are the Thunder ever gonna do anything with any of these picks? Because they just traded for more.
Yeah, it's a good question because It is funny because you talk to GMs and they'll say, they'll all complain about draft picks and how everybody overvalues them, and then they'll say that to you, and then you go out and you'll read and you'll see that when they're actually dealing with other teams, they're overvaluing them too. Everybody loves having these picks, but in the end, you wind up with an 18th pick in the draft, and maybe you get somebody decent. Chances are you're not going to, and you wonder what all the fuss was over the first round draft pick. But yeah, that Thunder team I think could be really interesting. They could be a lot of fun. But yeah, they need to, if they're going to be serious about being a contender, now's the time. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a top 10 player in the league. I think he's established that. We'll see how Chet Holmgren comes along. They've got some real talent on that team, and they've got so many assets they could turn into a player who could put them over the top sooner rather than later.
Obviously, in the Western Conference, the Nuggets can stake claim to the best team in that conference. Obviously, they won the title. I think they did a great job, not only getting great play from Jokic, but building a team that it just works. Everything just seemed to work, and they had a pretty, there were teams like I thought that Lakers series was the best 4-0 series you're ever going to have. Competitive games, but at the end of the day, it was a sweep. I still kind of, so if the Nuggets, okay, it's 1-2, whatever we disagree on in the East, but in the West, it's Nuggets and then who would be next for you?
Yeah, it would probably be the Lakers. As has been the case really for the last, going back to the bubble. It's really about LeBron and Anthony Davis being healthy. I think they've got the best supporting cast around those two guys that they've had, even the year they won the championship. This supporting cast makes the most sense around them. It's got the most talent. So they're certainly primed for a big season. But it all goes by the wayside if they can't stay healthy. And LeBron at age 38 and Anthony Davis with his history and injuries, you just can't count on that. But talent-wise, on paper, they should be right there with the Nuggets. I think it goes Denver and the Lakers really nipping at their heels there at the top of the West. As good as Phoenix is, and we'll see what happens about the Warriors. If they can bounce back, fully healthy, they're certainly in it, and you have to consider Memphis. But I think it is Denver and the Lakers out west right now.
All right, then last one for you quickly, because they play on Tuesday to start the season, those two teams, and then the game after that is Suns and Warriors. Which of those two teams is more likely to make a run? I think that the Suns have a lot of guys that kind of do the same thing, and the Warriors, I don't know. I mean, it kind of feels like it ended for them a while ago. Yeah,
the Chris Paul move is almost like jumping the shark, as they say in TV. It's like, they got nothing else, so hey, let's bring in Chris Paul here. I think they can put together a better season. They were the number 7 seed last year, won 44 games. They can do better than that. I don't put them on the same level as a healthy Laker team, a healthy Denver team, Phoenix, even Memphis. And maybe Sacramento. Sacramento could be a wild card in all this as well, especially if I think De'Aaron Fox takes the leap that he could take. So, I think there's a lot of teams that probably stack up ahead of the Warriors. The Suns are going to have a great regular season. I think they'll be easy to pick apart in the playoffs. I think that's where their problem's going to be.
Sean Deveney, appreciate your time. Follow him at Sean Deveney. Check him out, heavy.com. Appreciate you and hope to talk down the road, Sean.
Okay, Bart, thanks.
Sean Deveney. There he is. That's what we say. Yeah, it's not like one of the main players left the Warriors, unless you want to count Bob Myers as the Michael Scott of this thing, and now it's The Office, and here comes Chris Paul, or James is the James Spader character or whatever. But it does seem like this is the final stanza, that maybe the good days are done there in Golden State. 855-212-4227. I hate to be this guy, but I gotta rally in defense of how you feel about the Dallas Cowboys, because you're wrong. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
CBS Sports Radio. Great to be here in for Zach Gelb. I am Bart Winkler. What a treat to spend my Wednesday with you. A Wednesday that has seen a huge transaction in the NFL. sending shockwaves through the league. McCole Hardman is back on the Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen. McCole Hardman, who was a Chief and then signed with the Jets and had a cameo really on Hard Knocks where he said, hey, it's cool to play with you, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he was on the field for one of those 4 snaps. They've still never yet played together. The Jets are trading McCole Hardman and a 2025 7th, oh boy, to the Chiefs for a 2025 6th. This is similar to the trade we saw for Van Jefferson, where it's basically like just take him and then give us a 1 round better pick. So you can't just trade for nothing, but that's kind of like what they do. We'll give you a pick, but give us a pick. Oh, okay. So McCole Hardman is back on the Kansas City Chiefs. I've not yet seen if there's been massive line movement in Vegas upon this news, but one would assume that if you got the Chiefs on a Super Bowl bet, you better have made that prior to 3:00 this afternoon, because the money is going to be pouring in for sure. I'm Bart Winkler. Like I said, I want to before I get into Micah Parsons had some comments today about how people treat the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get a lay of the land here with what I'm walking into. Stu, I'll start with Stu Kovacs. I don't even remember, I don't even know what teams you guys like. Where are you on the Dallas Cowboys? What do you think of them?
So
how
I'm
do
a
they
Raiders
affect
fan.
you?
Yeah, so I'm a Raiders fan, so I'm kind of neutral to the Cowboys. I don't hate them. I don't like them. They're just kind of whatever to me, the Cowboys. I think they're a team that's, maybe the 5th best team in the NFC. I don't think they're very good. I think teams like the Seahawks and Lions are probably better than them. So they're kind of a team that'll probably make the playoffs and not do much when they get there.
What about just your overall thought? If we were doing a word association and I showed you their star, would you have a visceral reaction or not, or you don't care about them?
It's kind of neutral. I know a lot of people hate the Cowboys. I don't hate the Cowboys. I'm just not, a Cowboys fan per se.
So that you're a Raiders fan, so you remember Thanksgiving 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm at my in-laws for that game, and my wife does not care about sports. If she did, she wouldn't be my wife. Just like I was never going to marry a sports fan ever. Although if I'd love her, so whatever. But I was not looking for. I'm not missing that in my life. I don't want to watch the game with my. Is that a weird take? Also, do people do you want to watch the game with your wife?
Yeah, I watch a lot of games with my girlfriend. She's a sports fan, so I guess we're a little different in that regard.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of gross. But
really.
Well, not that women like sports. I didn't say that.
No, but I just mean wanting to watch the games together and wanting them to, be sports fans.
If my wife ever came to me and was like, "Hey, did you see McCole Hardman got traded?" I'd be like, "Oh my god, what is? Hey, Bart, what should I trade? Should I pick up Tyson Bagent in fantasy? Oh my god, jeez." All right. So, but that Thanksgiving game, we were at the in-laws, and the rest of her family is watching Raiders Cowboys, just going berserk, like it was like the fate of the planet was on the line. And my wife's like, "What is happening? Why do you guys care this much?" Her family's Bears fans. I'm a Packer fan. They were and because they're like, we just hate the Cowboys. With the level of cheering in this house was ridiculous. And that's the kind of hate that the Cowboys garner, even in 2021 at the time. Mike Samter, what about you, buddy?
I just find the Cowboys entertaining. As a Jets fan, I don't have a visceral feeling towards the Cowboys. There's definitely times where I've hated them. But, the Cowboys are entertaining, whether it's Jerry Jones or Jason Garrett or Dak or Micah Parsons, Tony Romo, Michael Irvin. The Cowboys are just entertainment. Deion Sanders. So, you want to hate them because they get so much publicity, but, they're just fun. And so,
yeah,
with all the negativity that surrounds the Cowboys, they get all the positivity, right? You think about Aikman doing games and Romo doing games. Deion is doing Deion stuff. Jason Witten got to do Monday Night Football for a year just because he was the Cowboys tight end. So, with the good comes the bad, and I just think that whatever the Cowboys do, good or bad, it's more entertaining than what anybody else does.
Oh, my God. I totally forgot about Witten. He was, with all due respect,
Awesome on the air. Just absolutely gold.
Yeah. I just found out he's coming on the show later today. He's great. No.
He's actually on hold right now listening to this.
Yeah, he's a big Zach Gelb fan. So Micah Parsons. So I love to hear this out of him. Micah Parsons on his podcast. This is what we do now. He talked about it's The Edge with Micah Parsons, and he talked about some of this like we got killed basically by the Niners, and everybody just dug in. Well, the Eagles just lost to the Jets, so are you going to treat them the same way? Here's Micah Parsons.
I just don't condone the bashing of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and have the same energy for the Eagles. We want the same energy for everybody because there's a whole bunch of bashing when it's Dak Prescott, but not the same when it's the Eagles. I got time today. A lot of people said the Browns defense was overhyped. I said the Browns are the real deal. Acho said this, which pissed me off. I'm not worried about the 49ers. They were missing Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. The Browns were missing Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. They were missing them key factors before the game even started. So why is it that we are just scrubs and we're nobodies that don't deserve to be on the field and we're just all talk? But there's 100 excuses for these other teams. If y'all just gonna hate Cowboys Nation, just say y'all hate Cowboys Nation. I'm tired of people trashing my quarterback. I'm tired of people trashing my team. And that's why I had nothing to say to the media this week.
I think a lot of where people don't like the Cowboys is because they are America's team. They got that branding, which came to them in a 1978 NFL Films documentary, which started like their players are on TV more than stars. They are America's team. It wasn't the Cowboys that one day just decided to launch this branding. So a lot of why you don't like the Cowboys, a lot of why people don't, is because you don't like how they've been branded, which I guess is fine. But again, they didn't come up with that. I'm living in Wisconsin, and trust me, as a Packer fan, oh boy, did we hate the Cowboys. Because I think in 1993 and 1994 and 1995, we went there. We, the Packers, I'm an owner, I can say that. We went there, although I guess I wasn't at the time as a kid. But the Packers went to Dallas and lost every year in the playoffs. Finally, when the Packers won a Super Bowl in 1996, there were many dozens, scores, hundreds of Packer fans who said the following: it's great we won a Super Bowl, but, first of all, never. You win a Super Bowl, that's it. It's great we won a Super Bowl, but it would have been nice if we could have beat Dallas on the way. I mean, Dallas, that's how much they were hated. I think they came to Lambeau then the next year. One of the big three was hurt, and the Packers beat them by like 35, and it was very cathartic for a lot of Packer fans. But even to this day, like that was in the 1900s, okay? The 1990s, but the 1900s, that was a long time ago. People still hate the Cowboys today with as much passion as they hated some of the 90s Cowboys teams. Now, you're excluded if you're a Giants, Commanders, Eagles fan. I'm not gonna tell you not to hate the Cowboys. They're a rival. Of course, feel free. They're a division rival. I'm not going to tell you to dislike them in any way, shape, or form, or not to dislike them. But what I'm saying is the amount of hate they get, I'm totally with Micah Parsons here. The amount of hate that they get it's at comical levels of dumb. They don't deserve, okay? They don't deserve the amount of hate they get. You know who the Dallas Cowboys have been since 1998? I just mentioned that Joel Embiid and the Sixers haven't made a conference finals, which I think is a big deal with how much we talk about the Sixers and Joel Embiid. The Dallas Cowboys haven't made a conference championship since, I believe, 98. It's been a lot of years, and there's a lot of, like, playoff blemishes. Did Dez catch it? There was a game where they had a big lead on Green Bay, and then Rodgers found Jared Cook on the sideline improbably. There was a game where they, what's the other game I'm thinking? Oh, Tony Romo. Tony Romo fumbles an extra point. Why is the starting quarterback in there anyway to fumble the snap? There are a lot of the Dallas Cowboys. I think a lot of us still think of them as big, bad Cowboys tearing through the league. Parties, insanity, 90s, Michael Irvin, flashy, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman. And they've stayed visible. Those guys have stayed very visible. A lot of the Jimmy Johnson's on TV and Daryl Johnson's on TV. And these guys they're very visible. Emmitt Smith's in commercials. They're still very, very visible. But the Cowboys in the 2000s are they're the villains in Scooby-Doo. They're Wile E. Coyote. They're Tom in Tom and Jerry. Tom is the cat. I did have to double check that. I don't think I ever really knew. I would have guessed that the mouse was Jerry. Tom cat. I probably would have gone, and Jerry just seems more like mouse-like. But they're the bad guys that always get caught in the end. They always get beat in the end. Yet we still maintain this massive disdain for this team who they are entertaining. I think either 2 or 3 of the top 5 broadcasts this year have the Cowboys in them, and that's what it shakes out to be. At the end of the season, you look at the top 25 broadcasts, and a lot of them are going to be Dallas Cowboys National or Dallas Cowboys in that late window on Sunday. Chris Collinsworth, week 1 of the season, said if we could have the Dallas Cowboys on every week, we would. Even that Sunday night game against San Francisco 2 weeks ago, they got destroyed. And a lot of people continued to watch because they like to see the bad guy lose and get embarrassed that way. And they always lose. And even though I do think they have a good team, and I do get suckered into thinking that, this could be the year they're going to win the Super Bowl. They just don't. They don't. So, yeah, if you're going to, judge, to Micah Parsons' point, if you're going to judge how we're viewing and reacting to some of these losses, the Eagles we should be a lot harder on. I know the Jets' defense is good, but Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions. You let Zach Wilson beat you. The Cowboys, they got stomped by the Niners. Okay, well, the Niners are pretty good. And yes, the Niners go lose to the Browns, and then you go, injuries. Well, the Browns had injuries too. Then the Cowboys beat the Chargers on Monday night. Do you understand how different the world be? I mean, I would say there's some butterfly effect possibilities here. If the Cowboys lost to the Chargers, it would just be like, oh, my God. It would be on every show. People would be going crazy. Lives would be changed. But they win in a win they fought for. And it's like, ho-hum, let's on to the next thing. So then they don't get the credit that they get. And it's all because we look at them as this big bad when they haven't been the big bad in 30 years. It's been a long time since they've been that kind of bad guy. So I don't know. It's very odd. It's very weird. I am totally on board with supporting the Cowboys because in the end, they will find another way to lose. The same thing I was talking with Sean Deveney just before, NBA, and I really stand by this. Drew Holiday is a Celtic and Damian Lillard's a Buck, and somehow the Celtics are better than the Bucks now. But if Damian Lillard was a Celtic and Drew Holiday was still a Buck, the Bucks wouldn't even be in the conversation with Boston. That's how we view it, okay? Look at Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy in Dallas, nobody thinks he's good, okay? If he was the coach of the Denver Broncos, we would have assumed that he'd be fired by now. Oh, Mike McCarthy with that team? Okay. If Sean Payton was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, they would have been everybody's Super Bowl favorite. Why? I don't know. That's also a Sean Payton PR thing. Sean Payton has excellent PR. Somehow this guy got kicked out of the league for a full year. We never talk about it. He got a puff piece movie made out of him with Kevin James as the lead. He had 3 years in a row where he went 7-9 with Drew Brees. Nobody ever talks about that. The coach, we decide what coaches we like and what coaches. Fun fact, Kyle Shanahan has as many losing seasons as the head coach has winning seasons. Nobody talks about that. We just say he's the greatest coach ever or coaching today. Okay, well, win a Super Bowl maybe. So some of these coaches have a good PR team behind them. Cowboys don't. And the Cowboys have the most comically created owner of all time. It's Jerry Jones. The guy thinks so highly of his football knowledge, he's been the GM for 30 years. He rushed to kick Tom Landry out. Then he rushed to kick Jimmy Johnson out. And then he hired who knows who, all these weird guys, the Chan Galeys of the world. The Cowboys, they've not been good for 30 years. And we still look at him like, this guy does his drafts on a yacht with his kid. What are we afraid of? They get caught every episode. So I'm with Micah Parsons, totally. Now, on a media standpoint, he did say something about how Micah Parsons did. He did say something about how I didn't talk about this the other day. I wanted to save it for the podcast. That might. If I'm a beat reporter, I'm like, okay, so we're just totally irrelevant now. We don't exist. You save all the good stuff for your podcast. But if I'm Micah Parsons, well, yeah, look at me. I bet you download hits today on The Edge with Micah Parsons went up. I'm not trying to sell subscriptions to the Dallas Star. I don't care about that. So interesting from a few points, but overall, the Cowboys are not the big bad that you make them out to be. That ship has long since sailed. And this coming from a Packer fan who grew up just hating this team. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. I'm Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Chris calling in Florida next up on CBS Sports Radio. Chris, what's happening?
Zach, what's happening? I love your show tremendously. It is the best national show around. I love my local shows, but you are the best.
Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
CBS Sports Radio. I'm Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb. Micah Parsons, Cowboys linebacker, had some comments. Clapping back is what we say at critics of the Cowboys, saying, why you guys always pile it on us when there's other teams to pile on? The Eagles lost to the Jets. The Niners lost to the Browns, essentially both getting a free pass. We lost to the Niners, who you all think is elite, and you want to tear our franchise apart. What I'm saying is, as someone who's growing up as a Packers fan hating the Cowboys, I don't feel like that anymore. First of all, they do always find a way to lose. And I think that they've had enough talent where at some point they probably should have won, but they don't. I just think that if you hate the Cowboys, it's been like 25 years since they've actually given you a reason to hate them. Maybe you hated them in the 60s. Maybe you hated them in the 70s. Maybe the 80s or 90s. What I'm telling everybody is it is time to move on until they give you a reason to hate them again. And right now they haven't. And frankly, the league's better when they're good. Like, you guys all hate okay, you guys being the collective sports you. Who do we hate? We hate Duke. We hate the Lakers. We hate the Yankees. We hate the Cowboys. But isn't the sports that they play in better when they're good? It is. And then they lose. It stinks when Duke loses in the first round of the tournament, because then they can't lose in the second or the third. It stinks when the Yankees don't make the playoffs, because then they can't lose in the playoffs. That's what we should want. 855-212-4227. Let's get out to Chris. Chris is in Texas. Hey, Chris.
How's it going?
What's up?
Well, I hope the Cowboys.
Hey, they're on a one-game winning streak.
Yeah, they need to keep it and put it together. Make a long streak.
How do you feel that everybody hates your team?
They're a bunch of jealous jerks because the success, even though we haven't been to the Super Bowl in years, the success we've had all through the years, a lot of teams are jealous of that.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is there are full-grown adults with master's degrees and a dream home and kids that have never been alive. Like, if you're 25, you can have a pretty successful life. No, 26, 27, 28. There are full-grown adults who have never seen the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl in their lifetime, and then they still hate them because of things that happened in the 90s? Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I mean, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was pretty much since I was born, because I grew up on Roger Staubach and Tom Landry and those guys. So I'm okay with them being America's team, even when we lose.
So how do you feel about?
There are a lot of fans too.
Yeah. How do you feel about how do you feel about the 2023 chances?
Well, if the defense shows up for every game, we probably got a good shot.
Yeah. Do you like Mike McCarthy?
I'd rather, yeah, he's all right. I mean, he did get a Super Bowl for your Packers.
He did.
And I hated that Super Bowl because of two teams in it.
Oh, us in Pittsburgh? Yeah, that makes sense.
I despise the Steelers, and my parents remember the Ice Bowl. So they have hated the Packers ever since.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Chris. Well, have a good season. Thanks for the call. It's Chris in Texas, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. Big Dave is in Kentucky. Hey, Big Dave.
Hey, man. As a lifelong Cowboys fan, it should be people like me that are the ones that hating on the Cowboys for 25 years of being the most underachieving franchise in the history of professional sports.
Well, are they going to turn it around soon or what?
No. No, we're not going to turn it around. The fish stinks from the head down. It's Jerry Jones. I mean, he undermines the authority of the coaching staff. The only reason Mike McCarthy's there is because he's a yes man. No, we're not going to turn it around. Dak's not that dude. No, we're not going to turn it around. Not under the current regime. It's not going to happen. I have zero confidence in this team.
Well, that's a bummer. 855-2, thanks for the call. 855-212-4227. Yeah, they have not won a Super Bowl since 95. They've made the playoffs a bunch. 96 lose to the Panthers. 98 lose to the Cardinals. That game I somehow strongly remember. Lost to the Vikings the year after that. The Panthers they lost. I remember all these games. Lost to the Seahawks. That was Romo. Lost to the Giants. Vikings again. Packers, Rams, Niners. Divisional round last year. But they've still yet to make a conference championship, the Cowboys, since the year they won the Super Bowl in 1995. And yet we're coming at Dallas with this vitriol like they won the Super Bowl. Like the way we treat the Cowboys is the way we act like they're the Patriots. And then the Chiefs is what we're acting like. We're acting like they've had that kind of success, similar to what the Patriots did for so long, and then what the Chiefs did what the Chiefs are doing now. But they just, again, what I'm saying about Dallas is they're fun to hate, and it's great to hate them because they will lose. Okay? They will lose. They are the bad guys in Scooby-Doo. They are Tom and Jerry. They are Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, they are Elmer Fudd. You might one up Bugs Bunny. I'm sorry, all my references go back to even before the Cowboys were good. But that's where we're at. They did beat the Chargers. Okay, that was a decently impressive win. They do have the week off this week. By the way, I am pro Charger fan lady. Okay, I mean, at what point? And I know there was video, right, that she also was cheering for the Vikings at one point. I mean, it's okay to like multiple teams. It is. Maybe not the same level, but it is okay to root for another team. I never thought that she was a paid actor. I never thought that the NFL would never stoop to that. But what does that tell you about the Chargers? That we would think that would be a realistic possibility. Where not only would they pay a woman to be a fan, but then pay her to act crazy and then get the TV cameras to show her. I heard her say she does get shown on the Jumbotron a lot, but this was her first time actually on TV. I think what it does show is that the Chargers' move to Los Angeles goes down as one of the bigger mistakes in terms of moving a franchise. And that was all, like, if you are going to move a franchise, and I think we try to be more preventative of it nowadays than we were in the past. You know, hockey, I still don't know which Winnipeg Jets is what. I don't. Hockey's a weak spot for me, so I don't know who's where and coming and going. Apparently the Atlanta Thrashers might come back. I didn't know they're gone. I don't know. I don't know. I suck at hockey. But the LA Chargers, being the LA Chargers, you know, sometimes people will. So I would do the show with a guy, and he would still call the Marquette Golden Eagles the Marquette Warriors. That's what the college basketball team used to be called in the 70s when they won, 80s, 90s. So people might refer to the LA Chargers as the San Diego Chargers, like facetiously, but it's not. It's still, our brains have not yet processed that they are a Los Angeles team. And they share the stadium with another LA team, and they moved around the same time to play in this new stadium. But what both of those teams do, and the Raiders too, the Raiders moving to Vegas is a mistake. Less of a mistake because Raider Nation is bigger. I mean, if there's a Cowboys Nation, there's a Raiders Nation. The Cowboys could move anywhere and they could fill a stadium, really. And the Raiders, I thought, were kind of the same way until you see these games in Vegas, and Vegas is the worst spot to move a team to. Like, even if the A's move there, you're not going to get 20,000 people in a basketball arena, 35 in a baseball stadium, 60 in a football stadium, rooting passionately for your team. If you play in Vegas, you will never have home field advantage. Because having a team in Vegas, it's for visiting fans, you knock off 2 trips in one. I've always wanted to get to Vegas. It's been a while since I've been to Vegas. I want to go see the Browns play. Yeah, I haven't been to a Browns road game in a while. It'd be fun to take a trip and go see the Browns. Look at the schedule. Hey, Browns play the Raiders. We could go to Vegas. And then suddenly it's orange everywhere. That happened a couple of weeks ago. It happens every week. And look at the Rams, especially when they play the Niners. Flooded with Niners fans. That Charger game, de facto Cowboys home game. I mean, those two LA teams and Vegas, they all moved around similar times, basically just into areas for tourists, really. There are no diehard LA Chargers fans. And when there are, you think that they're paid actors. Because that's how ridiculous it is. 855-212-4227. I'm Bart Winkler, and for Zach Gelb, let's get another update. Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell received a 3-year extension through March of 2027 when he will be 68. Anthony Richardson will have season-ending surgery on his right shoulder. His rookie year lasted just 4 games. The Cardinals' Kyler Murray has been designated to return from the physically unable to perform list. He was back at practice, and this team now has 3 weeks to activate its quarterback. Dolphins corner Jalen Ramsey, the same, practicing today. He won't play Sunday as he returns from meniscus surgery 3 months ago. The Jets reportedly sending Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs for a swap of late-round picks in 2025. The American League Championship Series resumes tonight in Arlington with the Rangers up 2-0 on the defending champion Astros. Texas has won 7 straight postseason games, and they both come without the benefit of having Max Scherzer on the mound. But the 3-time Cy Young Award winner is back tonight, hoping to get into the win column and give them a nearly insurmountable lead. He'll start Game 3 against Christian Javier, who makes his second start of the postseason after 5 scoreless innings against the Twins. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Drew in Milwaukee next up on CBS Sports Radio on the Zach Gelb Show.
Zach, appreciate the time. Want to start real quick and thank you for backing up you wanting Giannis to be signed in Milwaukee. Shout out to the big show, you coming on. Very much appreciate that.
Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Oh, yeah. The caller's from Milwaukee. Hey, so am I. I'm Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb today. Talking some Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons was talking some Dallas Cowboys, as in, stop talking about my Dallas Cowboys this way. Basically, you're trashing us, bring the same energy for everybody else. Whole bunch of bashing when it's Dak, but not the same when it's the Eagles. And so what I'm saying is a lot of you don't like the Cowboys because of things they did 30-plus years ago. And I'm saying, like, no, they're lovable. They're fun. They're dysfunctional. They never win. I don't have that hate towards them as I might have used to back in the day. Yet they're covered as if they're perennially the bad guy that's winning. But really what they are is they're Wile E. Coyote. They're constantly running into rocks that have a painted tunnel on them. And the rest of the league has been Bugs Bunny and the gang. 855-212-4227. Let's get to a bunch of you guys. Let's get to Mike. What's up, Mike?
Not much. How you doing, Bart?
I'm good. You're a Cowboy fan?
I sure am, sir. And I wanted to add a couple comments real quick, and I know you got a lot of people to get to, but first of all, I want to say I agree with you on your last comments about the Cowboys traveling well. I grew up in Arizona, so all you had on TV to watch then, they didn't have an Arizona Cardinals team. You only had the leaders in the Dallas Cowboys. I chose the Dallas Cowboys. So anywhere you go in the West, you're going to find a ton of Cowboy fans. On the East, you're going to find them too. I think maybe a little less, but not as much. I live in Kentucky now. So I agree with what you were saying there. And then I wanted to add to the two callers previous to this, the one that he said he wasn't really for sure they had to get their act together. The other guy, he basically said he had no faith in them. Well, there's hope for our Cowboys here. Dak Prescott was free to play the way he looked. He looked like he did the first two seasons he came into the NFL. He was running out of the pocket. He was throwing passes on the run. He could see the field down there. They have a great defense. It's a little less without Diggs, but they still have a good defense. I think they need another receiver to help them out, another solid star receiver for Dak. But Mike McCarthy, this is his first year without Kellen Moore. You know, Kellen, and he outdid Kellen Moore.
Oh, dude, they showed Kellen Moore on TV more than Taylor Swift's been shown all season. My goodness, they wouldn't stop showing him the other night.
Yes, and one more thing I want to add about that is they put the numbers up. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, or maybe it was Scott Van Pelt afterwards, I can't remember. They put the numbers up and comparing Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy on third downs and all this other stuff. Mike McCarthy was better. He was better than what Kellen Moore had done. I mean, it's all on Mike McCarthy's shoulders this year. So, you know, we shouldn't crucify him yet. Let's wait and play the season out and see how this goes. It might get better as it goes. So that's my thoughts on it.
Enjoy the season. Mike, thanks for the call. There are a lot of Cowboy fans out west. I would say, and I'd have to take a look and really come up and study, but if you were to ask me off the top of my head, what was the biggest we're only signing this guy to sell tickets move of all time, I think it's when Emmitt Smith went to the Cowboys in 03 and 04. Now, his second year there, he almost had 1,000 yards. He had 9 touchdowns. So he was still a contributor, but they signed him solely to appease any Cowboy fan in the area and hope that some would travel. That was 100% a let's sell tickets move. 855-212-4227. Let's talk to Bill, who is in Pittsburgh. What's up, Bill? Bill, I'm coming to Pittsburgh next month to watch the Packers.
Hey, man, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm from Lynchburg. I'm from Virginia.
Oh, same thing. I don't know. I don't know what's over there.
No, it's all good. But I was just talking about, I think most people dislike the Cowboys because of the fans. A lot of them are every year. I don't know how they are where you live, but where I live, every year it's, hey, we the best. We're gonna beat everybody. They beat 2 or 3 good teams, then they blow up and they think they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, and they never show up. And it's the same thing every year. And I think they get tired of the fans talking so much about how good they are when they can never produce.
Now, I have been defending like the Cowboys against the hatred, and thanks for the call. I have not said anything about the fan base. So if you have issues with the fan base, I think that might be a different monster. For instance, as a Packers fan, I don't really have any problem with the Bears. I mean, George Halas helped fight to keep the Packers alive in the 20s and 30s and 40s. But Bears fans, oh my gosh, they are a weird breed. I'll tell you, when I did go to a Dallas Packers game, I like to travel. I like to get out. It's my one trip a year. Family vacations, no. I go to the Packer game. This guy in front of me he turned around and started saying, hey, we're better than the Packers. 5 Super Bowls. And I said, okay, yes, you have 5 Super Bowls. The Packers have 4 Super Bowls. So you're better than us. But then I said, but the Packers, before Super Bowls, they still played for titles. The Packers have 13 world championships, counting the Super Bowls. He said, those don't count. We have 5 Super Bowls. I said, well, yeah, but if you're talking, 13 is better than 5. We were basically arguing math. And he wanted to come to fisticuffs. And it's like, where am I? What is this? So that's the most premier interaction I've had of late with a Cowboy fan. Anthony is in Myrtle Beach. Anthony, what's up?
What's going on, Bart?
Hey, man.
I agree exactly with dude from Lynchburg. I forgot his name. That was Michael. I agree with him 100%. I don't particularly care for a couple of handfuls of teams out there. I'm an AFC guy, and to touch base with the woman, it's okay. She's rooting for an NFC and an AFC team. I get it. I do the same thing. I got a number 1 in AFC. I got a number 2 that's in an NFC. So I understand her scenario. Do I think she's fake? No. But for Dallas fans, they are completely obnoxious, and they are annoying. And Mike hit it right on the head, and I hope that was his name, where they
the last caller was Bill, to clear up everything. We talked to Mike and then Bill, yes.
I'm sorry, Bill in Lynchburg, not Pittsburgh. But
yes.
He was absolutely right. Like, their fan base is horrible. They are very arrogant, and there's nothing wrong with confidence. When you cross that line and become arrogant and you're all up in my face, and like the one guy you had a couple of calls ago talking about we're jealous. Jealous of what? There's nothing to be jealous about. Like, I don't understand the cojones that a lot of these Cowboy fans have. It's like they think they're the best thing in the world since sliced bread. They make it easy to not like their fan base, so it kind of snowballs and overflows into not caring for the team, because when they lose, you can then go back to that loudmouth that wants to become a pugilist, like you said, turn to fisticuffs, and throw it in their face like you were talking all that trash, but y'all did nothing.
Yeah, I just don't know why I went to a football game and got in a fight about math.
Well, that's because of different issues. You know how that is. It's a green shirt you were wearing.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for the call. And I had the Packer eyeliner on, and I had the cheese head on, and I had the Packer socks. I had it all. Let's get out to Adrian, who's in Maryland. What's up, Adrian?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I think you hit it 100% on the nose with Micah. Micah's just saying, give everybody the love and give them all the hate when they lose. Give them all the love when they win. It seems like the media is just they're focused on the Cowboys. If San Francisco pulled out that game last week against Cleveland Browns, they would have said, oh, they pulled it out. It was a great win. But Dallas, they beat the Chargers, and they beat them up about beating the Chargers because they didn't beat the Chargers by enough points because they pulled out a game. Like I told somebody else on another station, I said winning in the NFL is hard. It's very hard. So So you take every win and you move on. You can't just pick each team by like the Cowboys. You say, oh, they didn't win by enough, or when they do lose, they lost to a bad team. Just like I live in Maryland, I'm in the DC area. I'm in the Commanders, and I got Commanders fans. They lost to the Bears, which you're a Bears fan. You're a Packers fan. You know how bad the Bears are. They didn't care that they lost to the Bears. All they cared is that we lost to San Francisco. And I was like, you guys got to get a clue. Come on. Just because we lose, you can't overshadow or deflect the loss that you had to the Bears game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Thanks for the call, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. Really, like the Cowboys, where this all kind of comes back to is they are a brand that got tacked on with America's team, and some people don't like that, and they think that we're all in our face. And I think that that's what you're annoyed by, but the Cowboys themselves haven't done anything. Like, they're on TV 6 times a year because we fall into it. I'll tell you, you know what? There's one guy responsible for a lot of the hate. And it might sound stupid at first, but I believe it. Is Skip Bayless. So the reason I think when you're listening to anybody and we're talking sports, I think it's nice to know, like, who do they like? For so long in sports media, everyone pretended that they just wanted to see good games. And then finally someone was like, no, I like the Bills. I mean, they're my team. Oh, okay, good. You have a team. Like, you got into sports not just because you like results and numbers. You like results and numbers for the teams you care about. And Skip Bayless has been so passionate about the Cowboys, and then they lose these high-profile games. So really, I think we're more like happy to see a guy we collectively think we don't like suffer more than it's like, because what do you do? What do you do a lot when a team loses and you know who their fan? A lot of times when the Boston Celtics lose, I don't like the Boston Celtics. First thing I do, I go online and I see what Bill Simmons said, because I'm like reveling in his pain. What's the first thing you do when the Cowboys lose? You go see what video Skip made his wife tape of him walking to the garbage to fake throw out a jersey he's already fake thrown out before. So that doesn't help. It's certainly when you have high profile fans in that kind of situation. Like if you're not a Swiftie, if you're anti-Taylor, well, suddenly you're very anti-Chiefs. Taylor gets too much attention. If that's what you thought 2 months ago, you do not like the Chiefs. No. 855-212-4227. Want to talk some more NFL. Why are so many coaches so bad at this? I don't know. I need help. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
CBS Sports Radio. Good afternoon to you. Good evening as well in some parts of the land. I hope you're in a spot of the country that gets to enjoy fall. And if you're not, I hope that you take go to Maine or something. Go to Oregon. Go somewhere you can look at the foliage and leaves. Because fall rules. There's something about watching football when it's 50 degrees outside. Even if you're inside your house, it's 70. Just that you know it's 50. and you can, you go out to get the mail or you take your trash out, and it's like, ooh, it's chilly. I want to get under a blanket. Oh, fall's the best. Halloween, we love Halloween. The neighborhoods that we drive around in, inflatables are real big this year, and like bigger than ever. Like a couple of years ago, I would take my kid and he'd say, "I want to see an inflatable," and oh my God, we're driving around. I'm gonna take a gas trying to find one spooky pumpkin. But now, my goodness, block to block, hop, skip, and a jump, they're everywhere, and I'm very pro. And so we decided that we're going to buy some for our yard to kind of join in, but now it's so late. Halloween's 2 weeks away. So November 1st, we're going to raid the Halloween Express and get some big-time discounts on Halloween inflatables for Halloween 2024 at the Winkler home. Oh, it's going to be great. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4CBS. The trick-or-treating in our neighborhood is during football Sunday. So I, like several dads, will be walking around watching. I'll be into the Packer game. Well, Packer fan. I'll be watching it on my phone as my kid trick-or-treats. What a great memory for him. Was your dad there as a child? Well, yes, he was. Always on his phone watching a game of some kind. That's why I'm really trying to, again, whatever my kid likes, whatever he likes, but I am trying to get him into like sports so that he can share those memories with me. Also, a lot of these coaches, my kid's 4. I wonder if not saying that he would, but like maybe me. I honestly think you take the football, so one of my takes once was that I could coach an NFL team to 9 wins. I'll just come out and say it again. One of my takes was I could coach a team to 9 wins. I think what's happened over the years is football coaches used to have this aura to them where they convinced you that they unlock this recipe of information that you could never know. You're just a fan. You just watch the game. And I will say, like, when you do play and are involved and active and coach, like I grew up in soccer, so Packers strike 1, soccer strike 2, I know. But I grew up in soccer, so I probably, because I've coached and played, I know more of the concepts. I know more than someone who's never played, or at least I've got the head start. I think that there's a lot of these people in the media that look at tape and look at the All-22 and try to figure out play design, and I think they're right. I think you can look at stuff and say, oh, yes. Now, sometimes we don't know the audible. We don't know the check down. We don't know that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the information that used to be secretly available to NFL coaches and college coaches and high school coaches is available to all of us. And that's why it's so frustrating when we watch some of these games. Like, under no circumstance on earth should a college quarterback, Cristobal of Miami, not kneel the football and run the play, have a fumble. That should never happen. And historically, when you looked at these late game situations from him, that's something that he constantly did. Okay, that's something that he constantly, he never knelt down. And how do you not do that? So many coaches, they get presented with these situations where it's 4th and 2 and they're in plus territory above the 50-yard line. And it's like they've never been presented with the information before in their lives, where they've never even fathomed that this could be a scenario. These guys work on play designs. These guys work on route concepts. They work on managing 53 different personalities. At some point in their week, if you're in the facility from 3:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the morning the next day, and you run out and get some Dunkin' or something, or maybe go home and, give your wife a kiss on the head and then go back to work. Like, at some point, can you play a game of Madden? Can you do some exercises where there's some clock management? Because what we're seeing is just atrocious. Like there are teams that just Josh McDaniels should not be a head coach. The decisions he makes. Oh, should I go for a touchdown here? No, I'll take the 3 points. Try to get the ball back. I never do. Onside kick percentage it's like 8%. You don't bank on the 3 when you need 7. You're not getting the ball back. Brandon Staley, the LA Chargers, should be one of the better teams in the league. This is like the 3rd year in a row. But Brandon Staley is so inept that they're going to continue to lose in spite of him. I think Matt LaFleur with the Packers, watch some of these guys when they're presented with situations. They look at a situation, they almost need to freeze time and then go back to their office and chart out what they should do. Because I think with a little preparation, they might know what to do. But there's so many times where they're just pressured into not knowing what decision to make or even to think that they're presented with this in the first place. And I just wonder, like, it's excusable sometimes. But there are coaches whose reputation is not knowing how to be a game manager. Even Andy Reid for so long. Well, now, he's won a Super Bowl, but he was historically bad at it. And whatever happened the other night with the Giants, let's yell at Tyrod Taylor on national TV when it's you, Brian Daboll, that is letting the wheels fall off of whatever success you had last year. It's crazy to me that there's 32. This is the most elite coaching job in America, and there's only 32 of them. There's only 32 of them, and we can't find 32 good ones. It shouldn't be that, and this kind of goes for quarterbacks too. It shouldn't be that, there's 32 of them, but 10 are good and 15 are and the other 8 are pretty bad. We only need 32. We don't need 1,000. We don't need 1,000,000. We just need 32 guys to play quarterback. We just need 32 men of any age. You're not limited by your body and your athleticism. Just know how to coach. And you're going to rank them and, okay, this guy will be worse than this guy, but he's still good. That's the thing in the NBA. We always clown these guys that are on the 12th, 13th, 14th part of the bench. They're still one of the top 400 basketball players in the world. I'm not sure that some of these coaches are some of the top 400 coaches in the world. I'm not sure that there's more than 15 guys who know how to properly execute a game and game management and play calling. And it's crazy that this NFL product keeps getting bigger and bigger. And guys seemingly get dumber and dumber. Or maybe we know more. But for the most part, the football, I don't know. The football isn't always was that a good game? I referred to Sunday night as a good game. Was that a good game between the Bills and the Giants? It was not. No, it was not. It was not a good football game. Good game is like that Chiefs-Bills game from a few years ago. That's a good game. But it was a compelling game. Football it's almost like if it was too good, it wouldn't be this entertaining. This is why I think they like some of the decisions around penalties. Well, if we made everything clear and perfect, then it wouldn't be as compelling. We're not trying to make it good. We're just trying to make it entertaining. That's another thing you got to remember. Roger Goodell is not making $65 million to run a sport. He's making $65 million to run an entertainment business. Now, the results are on the up and up. It's not sports entertainment. That would be wrestling. But this is an entertainment business. Ultimately, it's to entertain us and keep us engaged and keep us coming back and spending money and talking about it. And there's so many teams that the coaching is just so very poor. But then there's coaches that we regard very highly. And, man, they are having some tough times. Like Denver is 1-5 right now. Sean Payton, that PR machine on him has come to an end. I don't know why anybody thought that would work. And it's very clear that he knew it would not work. Billy Turner, you may know the name, you may not. He's an offensive lineman right now for the Jets. He had been with the Broncos in the past. And he was the first one to call out when Sean Payton started saying, hey, this is worse than I thought. Nathaniel Hackett must have been the worst coach of all time. Billy Turner right away said, oh, no. You realize that you're not going to be able to turn it around, and you're trying to get ahead of it. The Sean Payton PR machine is going full throttle, and I think that we're trying to figure out, like, okay, maybe it's not him. Maybe he does better there. Denver's going to be active in the trade deadline, we think. Maybe he does better there, but they are hamstringed with Russell Wilson, man. I don't know how they turn that around. They are hamstrung with him. They owe him a lot of money. If he gets hurt, if Russell gets hurt, because he's already got $39 million guaranteed next year. Any significant injury, this is from Jason_OTC at overthecap.com. If Russell Wilson gets hurt and can't pass a physical in March, he actually gets guaranteed another $37 million. So if the Broncos are going to be this bad, at some point they're better off sitting him just to not get him hurt so that they're not out another $40 million. You want to be smart with your money. You don't want to be like the Jets and turn down the insurance and then see your cash cow get hurt in Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, is not coming back this season. Aaron Rodgers has got a little FOMO where he's on the sidelines and he's seeing other people get talked about a lot, like Travis Kelce's the Aaron Rodgers this year. He's the media darling. Aaron Rodgers was the biggest celebrity in the game. He really was. Travis Kelce's took over. Travis Kelce, every day I see him advertising for a new commercial. He's doing 2-second cameos on Saturday Night Live. He's popping up everywhere. He's having a moment, and he's riding it. Sure, Taylor Swift put him on the map, wink, wink, but he's having a moment. So what does Rodgers do? Challenges him to a debate? He's a little jealous. Can't be too jealous. I also wonder, speaking of good coaches gone bad, what's happened to Bill Belichick? And he's another scenario. I did a whole thing the other day about how Bill Belichick is like, he just doesn't have the team, and he doesn't like whatever. It's just it's not there for him. These aren't the guys. And then I was quickly reminded, Bart, Bill Belichick is the GM. He assembled that team. And I know Zach Gelb wants his Patriots to tank, and they probably should. Like, that's the only way out of this, I think, for Belichick, is if he kind of pulls a Greg Popovich. That's easy comparison, I think, but a good one. Popovich, the last few years, those teams in San Antonio were awful, but he kept coaching. And you'd think, well, why are you still coaching? And we were told, he just likes to coach. He likes to coach young guys and instill philosophies. He just likes to coach. And I think Belichick likes to scheme and likes to create, but does he like to coach? Does he really I don't know. Does he like to see progress in Mac Jones, or does he just want to do the chess match every week and do that? Well, he doesn't have the pieces for him, but he's the one that built these pieces together. And then you wonder at what point, because even this year's an anomaly. Last few years without Brady, they've been winning 7, 8, 9 games, made the playoffs one time. This is an anomaly. And so you do wonder, when a guy has had so much success, at what point, like how many years of coaching bad teams to bad records did the 6 Super Bowl wins buy him? Is it a year for every Super Bowl he won? Does he get 6 years after Brady leaves to kind of take this team into the mud? Does he get 4? Does he get 3? Is Bob Kraft going to have that conversation? I just think there's a lot of interesting, how is this going to end scenarios that are happening in the league right now as well. So again, very compelling league, very interesting. The Broncos have my Packers this week. Oh my God, if the Packers lose, that's not going to be good. The Patriots host the Buffalo Bills this week as well. So these two bad teams. Giants, the other 1-5 team. Chicago too. All at home, it seems like. The really bad teams. Cardinals 1-5 on the road against Seattle. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4CBS. Again, I'm Bart Winkler. I'll tell you who the good team is. The Detroit Lions. And I think they've done a good job so far of being good, but still being under the radar. And that would be my advice for them. Stay exactly where you are. Glover Quin is going to join us, former Lion, and still talking about the Lions on Believe in Lions, the podcast you can get. He will join us coming up next. Bart Winkler and for Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
CBS Sports Radio, 855-212-4227. My name is Bart Winkler, and for Zach Gelb tonight. With no offense to our next guest, Glover Quin, former Lion, former Texan, former second-team All-Pro in 2014, now on the Believe Network for Believe in Lions. I had a buddy who is a Lions fan tell me that Week 1 against the Chiefs was the biggest Lions win of his lifetime. He's like 30-something. And then last week, I mean, he said it every week. The Lions, what they are doing right now, the last time I did a show, a guy called in who was a Lions fan and said, I don't know how to act. Glover Quin joining us, again, Believe in Lions. I would say act happy. This is a pretty fun season, and I think that's a pretty good team that the Lions have.
No question. A very good team and a very fun season. I would just say, I can't say act like you've been there because they've been, few and far between. I can't remember the last time they were 5-1. But I would always say just be humble about it. We already know what it feels like to be on the other end. So let's just be proud of our team. Let's support our team. But, just be humble about it. That's it.
Well, I think they're in a good spot, too. The thing that I was saying the other day was because the Lions, so the NFC North as a whole is bad. And so that's good for Detroit because they are good. And, the other teams can fight for scraps. But you still have, too, the Niners and the Eagles. And the Niners and the Eagles are going to get a lot of attention. So if I'm the Lions, like from a pressure standpoint, I just kind of draft off of them. They lost to the Seahawks, the Lions did, which maybe took some pressure off because if they were the lone undefeated team right now, it just seems like the division is going to be in the Lions' hand. You don't have to fight with being undefeated. You're still going to lose headlines from the Niners and the Eagles just because of how dominant they've been. So I think, Glover, they're in a really good spot where they can just kind of play football and do it without all the pressure.
Right, and I think that's what you really want. We used to love, everybody wants to play national TV games. We all know that. But we definitely used to love the situations and the times where you just had a bunch of 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock games, and you just kind of get to go and play. You don't have to worry about the hoopla that comes with all the other stuff. You just kind of slide under the radar and just play football. And I know the Lions aren't sliding under the radar because they are one of the top teams. But like you said, 49ers, the Eagles, they're going to get all those headlines. People, and especially in the national media, they're going to still not believe truly in the Lions until the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they're going to show them a little bit right now, but they're not going to get all the hoopla that those other teams are going to get. So, like you said, it keeps the pressure down, and they really just got to go out there and play.
Has there been an area of the team where, when you look at them, the Detroit Lions at the beginning of the season, where what you thought of at the beginning of the year with all the different position groups or whatever, where you're the most impressed with how far they've come through 6 weeks?
I probably would say the secondary, just being honest with you. They did sign, Cam Sutton from Pittsburgh, and they signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They signed Emmanuel Mosley from San Francisco, who got hurt in his first game back. But I'm really surprised at how those guys have been able to play after losing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Brian Branch has been a great draft pick for those guys. I know he's missed the last 2 weeks, but he's playing phenomenal before that. They have depth with Tracy Walker, who was able to step in right after C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down. Kirby Joseph has still been there. And Jerry Jacobs has played really well for them at the other corner. I was kind of concerned about the other corner position after, Cam Sutton. But Jerry Jacobs has stepped up. He's playing well. He has 3 interceptions right now. Ryan Branch has been out the last 2 weeks, and Will Harris has stepped up. The interception last week has been making plays as well. So I've really been impressed with the secondary of this Lions defense because when the secondary can hold up, it obviously gives those pass rushers time to get there and harass the quarterback.
How about, because you played in the secondary, of course, how much did the How much do you think your freedom and your ability to defend changed from the beginning of your career to the end as the rules continued to favor the passing game? Did you feel like it was harder, much harder, or a little harder, or not much harder your final year than in your first year?
Nah, I didn't really think it was that. I think
because some of the stuff these guys get called for, it's like you blow on a guy and you get 15 yards.
Yeah, I mean, the hits are definitely different, and they were emphasizing hit to defensive receivers back then and hit to the shoulder and head and neck area back then. But now I think they're doing more just based off of what it looks like, honestly, because there's plenty of times that guys get flags thrown on them, and when you look at the replay, it's like, bro, that wasn't a hit where it deserved a penalty. So I don't know if they need to go to what they do in college. It might slow the game down some, but in college they call a targeting call or whatever, and then they go and review it just to make sure that it was a targeting call. Because when you throw a personal foul flag on those guys, whether it's really a flag or not, they still going to get fined by the NFL. And if it's not a flag, a play that was warranted in the flag, you're just, kind of taking money out of these guys' pockets for no reason. So I do think that's changed a little bit. But, I mean, the hand, the double chucking and all that stuff, pressing, yards at the 5, the hands at the 5, and, illegal contact, all that stuff is pretty much the same.
You just got to be good at how to do it, I guess, as you were. Glover
Right.
Quin joining us here, the Believe on Lions podcast, and again, 10-year NFL pro. How much of the Lions' success do you think is given to their coach? I mean, Dan Campbell, obviously he's somebody that with the interim job in Miami, people liked him and is well regarded around the league. But it does seem like if you're going to try to change a culture or bring a different attitude, Dan Campbell seems to be the perfect guy to do that, and so far that's what he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing about Dan Campbell's personality is it matches with the personality of the city, and it's easy to build the team. Well, I don't want to say easy, but to get the team to buy into that mentality, because that's the mentality of the city, hard-working, blue-collar guys, and that's what Dan Campbell has brought to the team, the grit, the attitude, the effort, just loving to play the game of football. And when you look at the Lions fans, they love the game of football. Even when the Lions don't have great years, the fans are still there. And that's just the city, that's the culture out there. And Dan Campbell does a great job of, mixing in and blending in with the culture. And he's done an excellent job of getting the team to buy in as well.
Yeah, and I think another guy that is getting a lot of accolades and should is the guy under center in Jared Goff. There's so many of these quarterbacks where they have a few good games and we think one thing, and then they have some bad games, we think another. But I think Jared Goff has really proven that he's a great fit for this offense, and the Lions, I think, are very happy to have him.
Yeah, I think he's been excellent for the offense and, been excellent for the team. He fits the personality. I think he's done a great job with his leadership on the field, off the field, and I really feel like Detroit fits his personality. I think L.A. might have been a little bit maybe too much for him, but I think he came to Detroit with that chip on his shoulder, and he's been excellent. He's been excellent in his time there. I think he runs the offense at an incredible rate. He throws the ball well. So I think they're happy with Jared Goff, and I think they're going to look to lock him up at the end of the year.
They got a big game this week, the Lions do, in Baltimore, at Baltimore. This is, historically we'd probably look at this and say, okay, Ravens, they're at home, but Lions aren't that kind of team anymore. What are some keys they need to do against that Baltimore defense and maybe stopping Lamar Jackson this Sunday?
Well, I think, obviously offensively, the one thing you can't do is turn the ball over. The Ravens have been known to have historically a good defense, very physical, opportunistic type of defense. And so they got to go out there and just kind of stick to their game plan. I think a lot of it depends on how well the offense plays. The defense plays. If the defense plays well and stop Lamar Jackson, keep those guys under wraps, and, be able to stay with their run game, I think that right there alone helps you, because now you can stick to your run game, you can stick to your play-action pass, you can stick to the things that you want to do. If the game get out of hand quickly, now you kind of have to go away from that and you get into more of a passing game, and that allows the Ravens defense to, tee off on the quarterback and look to make plays in the secondary. So I think the defense has to do a great job of containing Lamar early in the game and not letting him get some big plays over the top, and they've been doing a great job with that. They have struggled a little bit with scrambling quarterbacks. We struggled a little bit with Geno, who is not really a scrambling quarterback, but I think the Lions defense has gotten a lot better. They've been playing great the last few weeks, so I look for them to continue that this week. And if they can do that and the offense can stay within what they want to do, I think over the course of a game, they'll begin to wear their Ravens defense down. It could look a lot like the Tampa Bay game last week, where you're looking at 20 to 24 points, but the Lions defense having to step up and stop the Ravens.
You got the big one this week with the Eagles hosting the Dolphins, but this is right there up there on the menu. The Lions going to Baltimore on Sunday afternoon. Glover, thanks for some time. Good to talk with you. Keep up the good work on the Believe podcast, and enjoy the rest of the year, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys.
All right, see you. Glover Quin, Believe in Lions. You can catch that podcast for more on the Lions. And I'm liking, so I am a Packer fan, yes. But this is deserved. This is good for the city. And I think the rest of the NFC North, it's weird when you're bad for so long. Like, it's not that I'm rooting for the Lions, but I'm not rooting against them. And if the Lions win the Super Bowl, like if the Bears or Vikings won a Super Bowl in my lifetime, Bears won, I was a baby. It would hurt me. It would hurt me as a fan. You don't want to see your rival succeed. But we're all like pulling for the Lions. The guy that I referenced at the beginning, my Lions friend, who said the win against the Chiefs was the best Lions win of his lifetime. The previous best Lions win of his lifetime was not even a Lions game. It was when Matt Stafford won the Super Bowl for the Rams. That's how downtrodden they've been. This year, though, completely the opposite. And I will say, we'll see what happens this weekend. But if they beat Baltimore, if that loss against Seattle, I think did the Lions a lot of favors. Because keeping the pressure off, I think, is a big plus. You don't have to deal with, more of the extra attention. So first of all, they already played the Chiefs outside of a Taylor Swift game. That was good, and they beat them. But they lost to the Lions in a game where not a lot of us saw it was overtime. They lost to the Seahawks, rather. They are the Lions. They're 6-0. If they beat Baltimore, they could have been 7-0. Then they have the Raiders. They could win that game. The Chargers, they could win that game. So there's a universe where they're 9-0. The Bears, the Packers, the Saints, the Bears, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Vikings. I mean, they're going to win a bunch of games. And so it's like it's almost like good thing we got the undefeated nonsense out of our way, because that would just bring more pressure that's not needed. I just think it's great that we can do a segment on the Lions in October, because most of the time the Lions got one segment a year on every show, and it was, should they still have a Thanksgiving Day game? They're not any good. Should they still have? Yeah, well, they are good, and they're getting segments, and they're going to have a lot more. So thanks again to Glover Quin for joining us. 855-212-4227. We'll wrap things up. I've got some thoughts on flag football. Don't go anywhere. Rich Ackerman right now.
Sports Flash.
Oh, Roger Goodell will be on the job through March of 2027, getting another extension today for 3 more years, meaning that he will be NFL commissioner for over 20 when it's all said and done. A tough blow for the Colts with rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson headed for season-ending shoulder surgery. Kyler Murray a step close to returning from a torn ACL, designated to return from the PUP list He will not play, though, this weekend. They have 3 weeks to activate him. Jalen Ramsey also back on the practice field today for the Dolphins for the first time since surgery for torn meniscus. He will not play either this weekend. The Jets are reportedly sending Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs for a swap of late-round picks in 2025. The Rangers have been spectacular in the postseason, winning 7 straight. They're back home tonight with a 2-0 series lead over the Astros in Game 3 at Globe Life Park with the defending champions in a tough spot. They'll turn to Christian Javier on the mound. He had 5 scoreless innings in the division series and has yet to give up a run in 3 career postseason starts, while Max Scherzer takes the mound for the Rangers, making his return from a shoulder injury that cost him the last month. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, Perloff, at home, in your car, and, of course, on your phone and tablet.
Maggie, you can find us on your local affiliate, Sirius XM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
CBS Sports Radio. Bart Winkler in for Zach Gelb for the final stanza before a primetime edition of Hick at Night with Ryan Hickey. So stick around. I like Hickey's college football takes. Whatever he always puts out videos of who to bet, and I always bet against him, and I'm rich. I'm rich as sin. Thank you. I think he got Texas. He did get Texas over Alabama. I remember that one. But I think he had. There's just like the one Hickey content I always see, no matter what, is his college football pick. And when he goes in the shower. What a guy, Ryan Hickey. Hick at Night coming up next on these CBS Sports Radio stations and on the Odyssey app. Time
I
to
got
ask
some bad news for you.
Pros. What?
Ryan Hickey just took his shirt off. He's very angry with you calling out his picks and his shower talk.
No, I'm pro shower talk.
Well, I mean, he's basically taking a shower. He's half naked in the studio right now. He's very angry with you.
Oh, well, you know what? I think he'll get over it. That's my prediction. I'll take my shirt off. I'm on a live stream. Should I take my shirt off to join him? Should we do the show as if we are cavemen and just be Neanderthals about it? I just promoted his show for a full minute. What's there to be mad about? You got to pay for that kind of exposure, which I can do with the money he's made me by going against his picks. Okay? So happy to help. It is time to answer our Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This question comes from Pete. He says, why are Ryan Hickey's picks so bad? No. This is from Tim in Tampa. Should NFL players be allowed to play flag football in the Olympics? Ooh, juicy. You could submit a question by tweeting us at CBS Sports Radio. Use the hashtag AskThePros and thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. So there have been a few sports added to the Olympics. Lacrosse is going to be an Olympic sport. These are in 2028 in L.A. Games will be in L.A. Baseball, which really, I mean, is weird that it's not. It was for a while, and then it was gone, and I think again, and then gone again. It's been back and forth. Softball, okay, excellent. Cricket, I'm very actually glad cricket's in the Olympics because that's the one sport, like I said before, I don't know much about the NHL, but I'm very cognizant of what hockey is and how it works. I just don't know all the players and names and coaches and like cities that are still currently having friends. I don't know as much. But cricket, I got no idea. Some games go for like a day and a half, I think, and it's like almost baseball, but not really. So I'm glad that it's going to be in the games because then I will watch. I am an Olympic guy who watches as much as he can. I'm not going to seek out some of these sports. I can't tell you if I've ever watched, curling try to cut some prime time after the Winter Olympics that one time, but nobody watches curling. Squash, again, is that like cricket? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to be willing to do that. So if there's sports that are played around the world at a high level, they should be in the Olympics. Isn't that the whole point? American football, we always wonder, like, what would an American football team look like? Then we wonder, who would we play? The thing about the NFL, as much as we've talked about the NFL today and Roger Goodell and the Lions and anything NFL related, there's not a lot of other people playing in other countries. The top players in the league, I think, like, I went over this one day. The top players in the league that are born internationally, there's like a Jacob Johnson. There's like a fullback from somewhere, and then a bunch of punters and kickers. So they'd be good in that department. They'd be trying to do field position battles, but then we'd just have Joe Burrow check it up to CD Lamb for 6 in an instant. We would crush. We would crush. But somehow along the way, American football as we know it, doesn't get in. Flag football does. How is flag football big enough even here to like who is playing flag football? The biggest flag football game that there is was last year's Pro Bowl. Who is playing? There's not like bar league flag football. I haven't played a game of flag football since I was in 6th grade. Oh my God. I was slow in 6th grade and I was playing tight end and I busted past the secondary and I was wide open. And I caught it, and I scored. It would have been the only touchdown I ever scored, but the ref called it dead because the lineman that was lined up against me to be a jerk took my flag off at the start of the play. So I only had one flag. I remember this. I could show you the exact spot in my hometown where it happened, the exact blade of grass. There's some memories as a kid that they're a photograph in your mind. And it's normally the scarring ones. That one scarred me very, very good. So maybe that I have an anti-flag football bias. But who's going to play? Like, who is good enough at flag football that they didn't play real football? And then are we going to do NFL guys? Is that even going to be fun? Is this just like a whole thing so we could get the Americans more? Or the Americans like, yeah, you can have cricket. Nobody here knows how to play that. But give us an easy one. Give us flag football. Flag football. Am I wrong on this? You guys, flag football how is it an Olympic sport? It's not even a sport. It's stupid. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I'm actually totally with you on this. It would be very weird to see NFL players playing flag football and against other countries where who are they playing? It's weird. Yeah.
Like, we're trying to just show them what football is. We're trying so hard to show them what football is here and like it, and now we're going to give them like an 8% version of the product. It's stupid. I'm not. Hey, I'm on the radio. I'm gonna play this up a little bit. No, this legitimately bothers me. It angers me. I am very upset that flag football is an Olympic sport. What's next? Pickleball? Squid Game? Ben is in Wichita. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, man, I think the hate from the Cowboys comes from the fact that they have so many fans that don't know football. Their fandom is so broad-reaching, and people just get tired of the mindless dribble from all their fans all the time.
So there's not strength in numbers.
No, it is strength in numbers, and the strength is their downfall. Same with the Yankees, same with all the other major programs. We get tired of hearing the people that don't really pay attention, and we write them off, and we despise those teams because of their fans. I'm a Lions fan. I hate all Bears fans just because they're so obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't hate the Bears. I really don't. I do hate Bears fans. I do hate Bears fans. And Vikings fans I do not like as a Packers fan. Although I do not like the Vikings. That franchise, I don't understand how anybody. No offense, none taken, I hope. Lions, look at that. Look at the Lions representation today. So we're all rooting for the Lions, a team that hasn't been good. See, this is all about branding. The Lions haven't been good. They've won one playoff game since like 68. So let's just look at 98. Since 98, they've won nothing. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won their division more recently than them. And they're not even in that division. They haven't been in 20 years. The Dallas Cowboys, sure, they've made more playoff appearances, but what have they won? They've won the same amount of nothing. But the Lions, we only see once a year on Thanksgiving with the cool throwbacks historically. And the Cowboys, yeah, they're a little more in your face. And so I think that but again, what I was saying earlier was they don't win anything. They are the villains in Scooby-Doo. They are Scratchy on Itchy and Scratchy. I think Scratchy's the cat, Itchy's the mouse. I think on Simpsons, they always get caught in the end. And so I don't know. I think a lot of we love the 90s. We're very nostalgic about the 90s. If you grew up in any part of the 90s, we love the neon pants and the Jinko jeans and the Surge. We love all the 90s stuff. Saved by the Bell and our Trapper Keepers. Yeah, we love all the 90s stuff. And that, those things are nostalgic. You think of those things and you're like, oh my God, that's ages ago. That's the last time the Cowboys won anything. They're ancient. They're nostalgic. They don't win. All right. Ryan Hickey up next. Hick at Night. I will be tuned in with my wagering app listening. Thank you, Stu Kovacs, Mike Samter, and you. I'm Bart Winkler. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.